Hello and welcome to SkedLIVE. I'm your host Nima Rajan, and here are your top stories for today. Canadian armed forces conducted their first airstrike in Syria. The strike Wednesday is the first since the government expanded the scope of its military mission against the Islamic State last month. 2 Canadian CF-18s were involved in the airstrike against the Islamic State garrison near Iraq, Syria. 10 coalition aircrafts were involved, including 6 from the U.S. The Canadian government voted last month to expand the mission by a year and to allow for the bombing of militants in Syria. Canada has about 70 Special Forces troops in northern Iraq, and 6 Canadian jets are taking part in the U.S.-led bombing attacks against the Islamic State in Iraq. A white South Carolina police officer has been fired after being charged with murder for shooting a black man in the back as he fled. The shooting occurred on Saturday in North Charleston, a town of about 100,000 people. 50-year-old Walter Scott was shot 8 times in the back by police officer Michael Slager. The shooting was filmed by a man identified by NBC News as Feeden Santana. Santana told the news network that Scott had been hit by the officer's stun gun before running away. The video shows a brief scuffle between Scott and the police officer Slager before Scott runs. Slager is then shown taking aim with a handgun before shooting 8 times at Scott's back. Scott had been stopped by the police for a broken brake light on his vehicle. Dzhokhar Sarnav has been found guilty of the Boston Marathon bombing that killed 3 people and injured 264 others. The jury will now decide whether to sentence him to death. Sarnav and his brother planted the homemade pressure cooker bombs that tore through the crowd at the famed race's finish line in one of the most shocking attacks on U.S. soil since 9/11. Sarnav left a note behind describing the attack as an act of retribution for U.S. military campaigns in Muslim-dominated countries. After 11 hours of deliberations over 2 days, the jury found him guilty of all 30 criminal counts that he faced. A man on trial for bankruptcy shot and killed a judge, a lawyer, and a co-defendant in a courthouse in Milan Thursday. Police arrested the man at a town north of Italy's financial center. Emergency services said a fourth person was found dead in the court building with no apparent signs of injury. They give no further details. Security measures across Italy have been tightened following the Charlie Hebdo attacks in Paris in January. It was not clear how the assailant was able to carry a gun past metal detectors into the court buildings. France's TV5 Monde, director Yves Béjeux confirms an overnight hack of the French broadcaster's channel's website and social media sites. Béjeux says supporters of the Islamic State have claimed responsibility for the attack, which broke through strong firewalls and posted messages from ISIS in English, French, and Arabic. TV5 was able to relaunch the signal, but only with pre-recorded programs. Now let's go to Marissa Rolls with the sports update.
Thanks, Nima. I'm Marissa Rolls, and now for your Skedline Sports Update. The Toronto Blue Jays lost 4-3 in an 8th-inning rally to the New York Yankees last night. Devin Travis had the first big hit of the night, scoring on a sac fly, carrying a 3-1 lead in the 8th inning. After a strikeout, the Jays kept the bases full. Brett Seastall's second pitch gave Chase Headley a single. This put the Yankees in the lead 4-3. Andrew Miller had his Yankee debut, picking up his second career save, contributing to the 4-3 win over Toronto. This is Toronto's first loss this season. The Blue Jays are in New York tonight with game time at 7:05. In NHL action, another loss for the Leafs against the Blue Jackets last night. Columbus dominated the first period with 3 goals on 14 shots. The Leafs pulled Bernier for Reimer, but it was no help. Columbus won 5-0. The Maple Leafs will close their season with fewest road wins in the NHL. Taking a look at the NHL standings, we can see the potential for the last 2 spots for playoffs. In the Western Conference, Minnesota Wild has secured its playoff spot. The Jets and the Flames are battling for second, while LA is on the outside looking in. In the Eastern Conference, the odds for first are between the Red Wings and the Penguins. The Bruins are following close behind, with the Senators completing the Final Four. In basketball, Toronto Raptors beat the Charlotte Hornets last night, a refreshing first win after losing the past 7 games. In the second quarter, Raptors held a 29-point lead with DeMar DeRozan, who scored 18 points, Lou Williams and Grievous Vasquez with 16 points. Tyler Hansbrough added 12 points and 12 rebounds. Raptors finished with a 92-74 victory. Raptors face off in Orlando tomorrow at 7 p.m. The Indiana Pacers forward Chris Copeland was stabbed in the abdomen outside a New York nightclub, along with 2 women. He was also slashed in the elbow, but is now in stable condition. His wife and an unidentified woman were the other 2 victims. A 22-year-old suspect, identified in media reports as Shazoy Bleary, is in custody. The fight outside the one in Manhattan's Chelsea neighborhood was called into custody at about 4 a.m. A folding knife was recovered from the suspect. The 23-year-old woman was believed to be the suspect's girlfriend. In CFL, making a field goal just got a little bit harder. Converts are now being pushed back 20 yards as a rule change made yesterday. To earn the extra point, kicks are now from the 32-yard line. This rule was established when the Canadian Football League's Rules Committee met yesterday to discuss rule changes for this season. Now, Tiger Woods has returned to Augusta National Golf Course, but it was Jack Nicklaus who stole the show. The 75-year-old Jack Nicklaus hit a hole-in-one during the par 3 contest in the Masters pre-tournament yesterday. Nicklaus aced hole 4 at Augusta National's par 3 course. In FC, the Toronto FC is hosting Manchester City for an exhibition game on May 27th. Man City is 4th in the English Premier League, led by well-known players Sergio Aguero and David Silva. Tickets will go on sale on April 16th. And finally, for today, it is hard to be a fan in this city. According to a new survey, Toronto has been labeled the second most miserable sports city in North America. I'm sure hockey, baseball, basketball, and soccer fans can all relate. It's been a while since we've seen a big win for the city. However, the Raptors may be the light at the end of the tunnel, netting their second playoff appearance in a row. That is your sports wrap for today. I'm Marissa Rolls. Now back to the studio.
Thanks, Marissa. The trial continues today for Mike Duffy, the Canadian senator and former TV journalist who faces 31 criminal charges including fraud, breach of trust, and bribery. The 68-year-old senator has pleaded not guilty to all counts. Former Senate law clerk Marc Audson was the first witness to testify. Audson and his testimony criticized the Senate for its lack of properly defining residence rule. Audson told the court there is nothing prohibiting a seasonal home or cottage from being listed as a primary residence. U.S. Barack Obama, president, visited Kingston, Jamaica on Wednesday as the first president to visit there since Ronald Reagan. This is part of the U.S. initiative to reassert U.S. leadership in the Caribbean. The 24-hour visit was to discuss energy, security, and trade. The Prime Minister of Greece, Alexis Tsipras, hopes to calm the tense relations between Russia and the European Union. Tsipras held meetings at the Russian Parliament and Moscow University. Meanwhile, Greece's finance minister says the country is expected to make a repayment of the International Monetary Fund for about 450 million euros, which is about 490 million American dollars. Now let's see what is happening in entertainment with Emily Singh.
Here's your entertainment news for today. As part of the week-long LGBTQ awareness at Humber College, the Gender and Sexuality Diversity Committee will be showcasing Transforming Gender, which is a documentary that profiles the lives of 11 transgendered Canadians. SkedLIVE reporter Sarah Miller has more on this story at skedline.com. Are you tired of advertisements on YouTube videos? Well, soon you can watch videos ad-free, for a monthly fee, of course. The fee will let viewers skip through ads. Details about how much and when it will be released have not yet been said. French media giant Vivendi is looking at a possible acquisition of pay TV group Sky. Vivendi has turned its attention to Sky after reviewing smaller pay targets in Turkey and other markets in Europe. The venture could cost Vivendi as much as £28 billion. Songwriter Don McLean's American Pie lyrics have sold for $1.2 million. American Pie is one of the most iconic songs of the 20th century. However, it fell short of the $2 million record set last year for Bob Dylan's lyrics for Like a Rolling Stone. Speaking of songbirds, pop star Taylor Swift and British soul singer Sam Smith lead the nominations. Both artists were among the top-selling musical acts in the last year. Swift is on top with 14 nominations and Smith following with 13, including Top Artist. Speaking of top stars, talk show host Wendy Williams is named as one of the 35 most powerful people in the media. Also making the list is TV personality and journalist Barbara Walters, along with Anderson Cooper. Hollywood actor James Best has died at the age of 88 in Hickory, California. Best was well known for his role as sheriff on The Dukes of Hazzard. Best has also appeared in hundreds of TV episodes and films during his 6-decade career. The search for a new face for CBS's Face the Nation is on. Current host Bob Schieffer said on Wednesday he will retire this summer after more than 50 years in journalism. Schieffer has been host of the Sunday Public Affairs program for 24 years. Godzilla comes to Tokyo, a scale model that is. The 52-meter tall head of the iconic monster towers over an 8th-floor balcony outside the Hotel Gracery Shinjuku in Tokyo. The hotel is set to open later this month and feature 970 rooms, movie theaters, and restaurants. You are now up to date with the latest in entertainment news. I'm Emily Singh. Now back to the studio.
Thanks, Emily. The Saudi-led coalition has carried out several airstrikes in Yemen. The operation by Saudi Arabia and Sunni Muslims aimed to stop Iranian-allied Houthis and former president of Ali Abdullah Saleh from gaining control of Yemen. A spokesperson from the Saudi-led coalition says there is no request by the Iranian government to evacuate its nationals from Yemen. The spokesperson also said most of the Iranian nationals present in Yemen are the ones who are supporting the militants, training them, and preparing them. A report from the BBC says Amnesty International has evidence of pro-Russian rebels killing 4 Ukrainian soldiers in eastern Ukraine. Amnesty says it has videos showing 3 soldiers when they were alive, then others in a morgue with bullet wounds. About 6,000 people have been killed since the fighting broke out in eastern Ukraine between the pro-Russian rebels and the Ukraine government. In Afghanistan, militants armed with rocket-propelled grenades stormed into a court, killing the district police chief and 2 other police officers. The court is located in the capital of Balak, close to the government buildings and the governor's office. Now let's turn to Tim Pulford with the weather forecast.
Just as it was getting time to put away our winter coats, Mother Nature's decided we should take out our umbrellas instead. Environment Canada has issued a rainfall warning today for the GTA, with some areas expected to get up to 50 millimeters, though most will only see about 20 to 30. Residents are also advised to be on the lookout for washouts near creeks and rivers, but despite today's dreary weather, we will be seeing some sun in the near future. Tomorrow we will see more of these thunderstorms as the rain continues, but after that, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday are all looking good with sunny skies. We'll be reaching a high of 17 on Tuesday, so hopefully by then we can put away our winter coats and our umbrellas and finally bring out the sunglasses. It's much needed after this long winter. That's your 5-day forecast. Now back to the studio.
Thanks, Tim. This has been SkedLIVE for Thursday, April 9th. For all our coverage, check out skedline.com. I am Nima Rajan, and thank you for watching.